no gossip. Jimin reveals surprising reasons behind Jungkook's decision. In the midst of all the speculation and fan theories that continue to heat up, finally one of the most anticipated voices appears. BTS's Jimin opens his voice. And not just an ordinary clarification. Jimin's confession this time immediately thrilled the hearts of the ARMY around the world. In an exclusive interview with renowned Korean media, Jimin finally explained the surprising reasons behind the big decisions taken by Jungkook lately. The decision, which confused many people, even made some fans think that Jungkook was hiding something. It was not because he wanted to leave, but because he wanted to keep. As soon as the first sentence came out of Jimin's mouth, the atmosphere immediately changed. With a soft but firm tone, Jimin said that Jungkook's decision, whether it's his career move, his change in attitude in the military, or his confession that has made public speculation, all come from a very private place. You know Jungkook, he's not the type to explain why often. But I was there when he felt most confused, and I knew he only wanted to protect what he thought was most valuable. Jimin's statement immediately caused a shock ripple among fans. What does protect mean? Who or what was so important to Jungkook that he had to change the course of his life? Furthermore, Jimin explained that Jungkook is the type who keeps a lot of things in silence. It often looks relaxed and calm, but behind it, Jungkook always shoulders a lot of pressure. He knows that his every step is always being watched, and he doesn't want anyone to get hurt because of his choice. Even when he wants to be honest with himself, he waits for the right time, so as not to hurt anyone. Jimin many suspect that the decision in question has to do with Jungkook's personal life, either his relationship with fellow members, including Jimin himself, or with his future in the entertainment industry. Some soldiers who read Jimin's expression in the interview even believe that this is a form of love that does not always have to be announced. After the interview aired, social media platforms were immediately flooded with support from fans. Many admitted that they were moved because after a long time of just guessing, finally the most sincere voice came out from the person closest to Jungkook. We don't need to know all the details. But when Jimin talks like that, we know it's not gossip. It's about the heart. Although Jimin did not specify exactly what the decision meant, fans believe that this could be the beginning of greater openness, both from Jungkook himself and from the close relationship between the BTS members. There are rumors that Jungkook will hold an exclusive talk session after his discharge from the military. Would he then continue the story that Jimin had opened? Will he reveal who or what he is protecting with his decision? Clearly, for the ARMY, this is not just gossip anymore. This is a piece of truth from two hearts that have been loving each other in silence and finally started talking. As Jimin's remarks began to spread across media platforms, Jungkook, who was on a military holiday inside the headquarters, reportedly viewed footage of the interview on his personal tablet. A fellow soldier, who did not want to be named, said Jungkook did not say a word as he watched, but his eyes filled with tears. A few hours later, in a private post on a fan community platform that only registered soldiers can access, Jungkook wrote a short but meaningful message. Sometimes someone speaks for you when you can't speak for yourself. Thank you, Hyung. JK. The message instantly made the ARMY cry and crowded sending support. It even got into the spotlight of the international media who followed the development of BTS during the draft. A source within the agency revealed that Jimin and Jungkook have rarely been in the same place since their military deployment began, but the two have continued to send each other private messages on a regular basis. In one handwritten letter seen in internal military training documentation, the name Park Jimin was written on the top right corner of Jungkook's envelope. This makes fans even more convinced that although the two do not talk much in public, there is something very deep and personal going on between them, a bond that goes beyond a simple friendship. According to J-Hope, who visited the two separately several times, she did not want to interfere, but she knew that the two cared about each other more than what outsiders saw. They're like two sides of the same coin, sometimes opposite, but still one. J-Hope, in an interview with a military magazine, meanwhile, RM chose to remain silent. However, his last post on social media featured a photo of a quiet night scene with the caption, "Sometimes we have to go through storms to know who stays behind." Many believe this is a form of silent support from the leader. Many speculations are circulating that after they complete their military service, there will be a special collaborative project between Jimin and Jungkook, whether it's a musical or a documentary. Some mentioned that they were in the process of writing a song together that would be a kind of open letter to the fans, something very personal but that they wanted to share. For ARMY, this story is not just about love or friendship. It's about the courage of two people who grew up together in the spotlight of the world, fought to keep each other in silence, and finally began to speak out. And when the voice came, the world listened. After news of Jimin's statement and Jungkook's emotional response spread, the other BTS members began to show their support in subtle but meaningful ways. Jin, who had just finished his mandatory military service, inserted a message in his live stream. Sometimes the most sincere things don't need to be explained. But if it comes from the heart, the world will know. V Taeyong posted a piano instrumental on his Instagram filled with melancholy, with a short caption, "For two hearts that grew together." ARMY immediately caught his point and flooded the post with heartwarming comments. Suga and RM, who are known to be wise and careful in speaking, have yet to comment directly. But agency staff said they are always monitoring public reaction and are still discussing internally how to rebuild the group's narrative after all members have completed their military service, although this moment was full of emotion and tears. Many believe that this is the beginning of a new era for Jimin and Jungkook, one in which they no longer hold back from showing the most fragile, yet most honest side of themselves, and for ARMY, who have always watched them grow from teenagers to grown men. This is not just a tearful story. It is a form of trust. The belief that no matter what happens backstage, behind the camera, the bond is real and will remain. Because behind every song they sing, there is a story that not everyone knows, but that can always be felt. Now, after all the statements and emotions are revealed, ARMY begins to recall pieces of moments that once might have seemed trivial, but now feel so meaningful. Like when Jungkook unknowingly pulled Jimin's hand towards him during an interview, or when Jimin secretly stared at Jungkook from a distance during a concert. One of the clips that went viral was from the Speak Yourself concert, when it was raining and Jungkook was seen taking off his jacket and covering Jimin's shoulders. At that time, the ARMY considered it a common gesture between friends. But now, the video has resurfaced with a different caption. He's been protecting her for a long time. There was also a moment when Jungkook sang part of Jimin's song soulfully in vocal training, even though that part wasn't his. Fans remember how serious his expression was at that moment, as if there was a feeling that he wanted to convey, but he could only say it in a tone. Now the public is wondering, is this the closing of a long chapter in their story? Or just the opening of a more honest and open story? No one knows for sure. But one thing fans believe, the relationship between Jimin and Jungkook can't just be explained through one article, one moment, or one song. Because for them, this story is the life they lived together in front of the world, but also behind silence.